Welcome to part 2 of Simply Ševčík. We're going to start with variation number 5, push and shove.
Variation 5 serves as a lifted up-bow study combined with slurring. My teacher Pierre Fournier used to call this stroke piquer, to bite or pick the string. It's a short, sharp stroke which we have named bow pizzicato. My shorthand for it is called bite and scoop. So you bite the string and then you scoop out the note. You bite with the fingers, which makes the hair contact the string.
This is a great study for thinking about string crossings as well, and it's a chance to practice preparing your string crossings really efficiently. Looking at places like bars 9, 11, 12, 16, you have to prepare the string crossing by moving to the new string on the and of the beat. And. And. So you're always anticipating the level that your arm has to be on.
Slow, medium and fast again. This particular variation benefits from being prepared slowly, gradually increasing the tempo. So the slow tempo.
Medium.
And fast.
Variation 7, mazurka.
We would like to thank Tanya Carey, a wonderful cellist and teacher living and working in the USA, for her observation that this variation is a mazurka. Given that she's of Polish origin, she would know.
The folk group Mazowsze has gained worldwide acclaim with its renditions of Polish dances, especially the mazurka, a lively Polish folk dance in triple time.
This variation is another lifted up bow study. Again, my teacher, Pierre Fournier, used to call this stroke piquer, staccato, short. We call it bow pizzicato. Alternate bars are played colle on the string.
And when you go quite fast with this one, you can change the bow stroke in the second bar to include a voluntary spiccato. And by that we mean a controlled spiccato, not too rapid. So here we are, how we might play that in bars 2 and 4, rather than.
Involuntary spiccato is a rapid-fire stroke with the hair of the bow very close or nearly on the string. The bounce does itself.
A small postscript. At the end of bar 1, there's a number 3 in brackets. Here's what it means. We're using a bit of piano fingering technique on the cello. So if you practice swapping to a third finger on that note in the rest, it then sets you up for the next position. So here's a little bit of this variation, and we'll be showing you how after the lifted up bows, you set your bow back on the string to articulate the beginning of the next note. Variation 12, the cuckoo clock. So this variation is a combination of slurring and more lifted up bows. And we can practice it collé to start off the learning process before we worry about lifting the bow off the string, remembering the bite and scoop concept that we had earlier.
Then, as written, lift the bow after the brackets and start from the string again to play the next stroke. From the string and from the string.
This study has a predictable regularity, which is why we named it the cuckoo clock. It must be very precise and played with a crisp stroke, except for bars 10, 12, 14, 16, where there are more expressive détaché markings. And
again, a nice challenge is reversing the starting bow strokes. So instead of down bow, we start up bow.
And now the end of this variation, but back to normal, like Ševčík indicated.
Variation 18, pirouettes. Here is one way of doing pirouettes with Darcy Bustle and Dawn French. This variation is a slurred study combined with a voluntary spiccato. Stay at or around the balance point of the bow for the greatest ease.
So here we have the balance point of the bow, where the weight of the heel and the weight of the tip is equal. So crucially, it's not in the middle of the bow, but about a third of the way along the bow, nearer to the heel.
We draw your attention to bars 1 to 4, and in a similar fashion from bar 5 onwards. The notation for raising the bow is a small bracket sign. This bracket sign alternates between down bow bars after the 4th quaver, bars 1, 3, 5, and 7, and up bow bars after the 3rd quaver, bars 2, 4, 6, 8, etc. We'll give you a few seconds to look at this more closely. We puzzled over this marking for a long time and finally concluded that we needed a stiff drink.
We recommend practicing the separate bow notes with a slow collet stroke on the string before you worry about making them spiccato. Etc. And we need to make sure that the first notes of the slur and the first of the 4 spiccato notes always comes from the string to give a slight clarity and bite to the beginnings of them. And that's a really important technique when playing in an orchestra section. You really don't want to start spiccato notes from above the string because it becomes very difficult to get it together with the other members of the section. I'll demonstrate both ways. I'll do the good one first. now the bad one, where I imagine you'll hear a bit more clatter.
As William Pleath would say, a good technique to learn is to close the lips of the slur. So there's a slight lifting after the slur to close, and then coming back to the string for the short note. Variation 21, Quicksilver.
So we have here another slurred and spiccato study. The execution depends on the tempo and the character. You have a whole palette of bowing styles. In a slow speed, you can use a voluntary and controlled spiccato. And in a faster speed, you can really let it fly and use a jeté stroke coming very off the string.
Can we show the frog here to practice the jeté? That's a good one to initiate an up-bow, both bite and scoop, and a thrown spiccato or jeté.
Again, we need to prepare it by practicing collé in various speeds though. At first staying around the balance point to make it easier.
You can also practice the stop and go exercise for clarity of articulation in the left hand, and I'll demonstrate stop and go. You prepare the left hand, before the bow takes off.
And in the end, the idea is to really let this one fly, and that's where the Quicksilver idea comes from.